Is anybody there? I can't see whether anybody's actually joined yet. Hi Caroline. Oh, you can hear me, brilliant. That's great. I sent the link to everybody literally about 3 or 4 minutes ago. So I've just got to wait for everybody to jump on. But so long as I know that at least, it says there's 4 people, 5 now. But I can only see, Caroline, I can only see your comment at the moment. So we'll just have to wait a bit longer because I did say I was going to start at 1 o'clock. So anybody that is here, if you just say hello and let me know that you can hear me. I'm just going to do some tweaking a minute. So just put your comments on if you can hear me and let me know that you're there. So I can still only see Caroline's comment at the moment. I'm just going to come out of this and come back in. You'll still be able to see me. I'm just logging out on my phone. And I just need to, I forgot to put do not disturb on. So I'm just going to put do not disturb on. Usually my live shows up on my phone on the home screen, but for some reason it's not showing up at all. So I'm not quite sure, but it is there when I go and look for it. So Okay, so I'm not too sure because it says there's 5 people here, but I can only see Caroline's comment. So I'm not seeing anybody's comments at all at the moment, so that's not a good sign. Everything's looking fine. It says I'm live. I can see my desktop. I'm just a bit concerned that I can't see anybody's comments. Caroline, are you still there? Ah, right, I can see Donna Jo now has said good morning. So Donna Jo, can you hear me? Okay, so Donna's saying my email hasn't come across my computer yet, but I did it on my iPad. Okay, well, I sent all the emails to, this email has only gone to the people that actually physically filled in the registration form. Caroline, yes, you're there. Okay, thank you. Quite a lot of people subscribed to the blog, but they didn't fill in the registration. So the only people that have got this email are the actual people that signed up using the Craft Along registration. And the email with this link went at about 12:45, 12:50. So depending on how long it takes to get through to everybody, that's why I'm sat waiting now. So I can see that Caroline's saying yes, she can hear me. Donna Jo's saying good. Donna Jo's also saying yes, can hear you. Mandy G's saying hi Ashley, hope you're feeling better, can see and hear you fine. Okay, that's fine. I am feeling a bit better. I'm still not 100%, I have to say, but you know, it'll be what it'll be. So I've literally about 40 minutes ago had some more paracetamol. I just can't seem to shake a headache, and it's all in my head, so I feel hot. But anyway, it is what it is. Right, okay, so I can see that it says there's 7 people on here now. Now this email has gone to, I think, about 18 people, something like that. And I did actually pre-warn everybody and say to look out for it. So we'll give it a few more minutes. Obviously, I don't want everybody sat here waiting for everybody else to jump on. But I did say we were going to start at 1. Okay, I can see. Hi, Patricia. Oh, thank you for being here. Patricia's on my Stampin' Up team, everybody. And then I can see a message from, is it M.E. Atkinson? Hello, finally got on chat and can hear and see you. Brilliant. Right, well, just let me say before we start, you should see, hopefully, a box on the top of your screen in red that says live. And directly underneath the video you should see live chat, and if you click on that, the chat should appear on the right hand side, and that's where you can type your comments. So Donna Jo's saying okay, I'm set up on my laptop now. Okay, so this, it says there's 7 people here now. So can you all see the live chat box? It's generally on the right hand side, but you have to click on the words live chat, I believe. And you should see the words live in red on the top left of your screen. I can't actually on mine at the moment, but it does, when I click on it, it does say live. So any of you that are here at the moment, have you looked at the PDFs that are sent to you? Have you prepared any of your card bases, or have you done nothing at all? Just let me know what you've done and where you're up to so far. So Patricia's saying you didn't get any message today with a link, but you found it. Okay, well you shouldn't be able to find it because it's unlisted, which is weird. Caroline's saying yes. I don't know what's happening then. It's bizarre. I made it an unlisted video because I thought it would be easier than, you know, us having like trolls and things like we've been getting sometimes on a Sunday. So I thought unlisted would be better. Okay, so I'm trying to read the comments on my phone, which is a bit further away from me, but it looks as though, is it M.E. Atkinson saying all set? So who's M.E. Atkinson? Let me just have another quick look on my computer while I'm waiting. Okay, I'm not actually sure what's going on. Oh, it's Margaret. Okay, all right. Hi, Margaret. Yes, I think all is ready. Right, so it's about 7 minutes past 1. So should we just make a start? And then if anybody else joins us, they're going to have to go back and watch from the beginning, because I'm a bit confused as to why people registered and yet they've not joined at the moment. So I don't want us to be sat here all day. I did get the link on email. Okay, so the link's obviously gone out. Right, that's fine. Okay, so what do you reckon? Should we make a start? Tell me what you think, or should we wait a few minutes longer? Just have a quick drink of my juice while I'm waiting. I've got myself a chocolate biscuit on hand. Got a Kit Kat. Everybody needs a Kit Kat, don't they, while they're crafting? Maybe it takes longer for all the emails to get delivered with the links. I didn't think about that one, did I? I thought if I sent it about 15 minutes before, you'd all get it. I can see there's 9 people here now, so there's obviously, so say hello to me, whoever you are, please. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll make a start, but just before I start, I'll show you the cards that I made yesterday. Okay, so Caroline's saying as you like, and so is Patricia. So to try this PDF document out, which I sent to everybody, I made some cards yesterday just to make sure that all the measurements and everything, you know, seemed to be okay. So these are the cards that I made yesterday. So what I did, you may or may not have noticed that the first card in the list tells you that as well as your base card, you need to cut a piece of white, whisper white. No, Caroline, I'm not limited to how many emails I can send at once. I think it's probably just where they go. I know quite a few people that registered were in America and Australia, so they're probably in different time zones. But as I say, at the moment, this is showing as an unlisted video. What I will probably do once we've finished, I'll make it public, and then anybody that wants to watch it later can watch it later. But by doing it as an unlisted video, I was hoping that I could moderate the chat better. Right, Caroline's saying I didn't get that one PDF, that is. Right, well, Caroline, the PDF and the supply list went out attached to every single email. So it will be there. It might not show up in the body of the email. You might have to click on the top of the email somewhere where it says attachments, but it did go. It went to every single person. But basically this is what I did. So for my first 4 cards, I chose a coloured cardstock because it said that we were going to use a white layer. But it doesn't matter if all your cardstock is all plain white, you can still put the white layer on a white card. So what I've also done, I did say in my supplies list that you'll need a die cut or a punched shape that's big enough for the greeting that you're going to use. I'm making mine as Christmas cards because I have to send a lot of Christmas cards to customers and to my team and obviously to family and friends. So you're going to need something to stamp your greeting on, but what I also said was an optional extra was a matting layer to go with that, and I also said that ribbon was an optional extra. But if you watch me make these today, you know, if you craft along, that's great. But if you're just watching, then obviously I'm just explaining. So that's the first card that I made, and then the next card in the list makes 4 cards, and that's this one, and this is all done on Whisper White. And again, it's the same greeting and it's the same paper. And then the third card makes 2 cards, so that's 4, 8, 9, 10, and then with your bits that are left, that makes your 11th card. And then what I've also done, I've just die cut the smallest poinsettia from the poinsettia petals, and I've just embellished mine all with the little poinsettia, and I'm going to probably do the same with these cards. So what we'll do, we'll make a start. Okay, so I'm just going to put all my bits and pieces on one side until I need them, and I'm going to start off with my cards. So I've already pre-cut my A4 card, so I'll just show you. This was a piece of A4 card which I've chopped in half and scored, and that makes 2 base cards. So I've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 7 white base cards. Then I've got 2 pieces of Night of Navy, which I've already cut in half, and I'm just going to score and fold these, and these are going to give me another 4 cards. So that's going to make my 11 cards so far. Hi Karen, hope you're okay. Karen's another one of my team. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm just going to fold these in half and burnish them. Now, you can score them with your scoreboard or with the scoring blade on your paper trimmer if you want to. Just for quickness today, I'm just going to fold. So I'm just going to literally fold them up, get the edges to meet, and then I'm just going to use my bone folder and fold them. So I'm going to have 11 card bases. Karen, did you get the email with the link in it to this live? I'm assuming you did, as you found me, because it's an unlisted video. But somebody said they found me without it, so I'm a bit confused, to be honest. Okay, so my blue cards are going to be the first 4 cards that I'm going to make from the PDF. But if you've done yours all white, as I say, don't worry, it doesn't matter. White on white looks just as nice. So I'm just going to put those on one side for now. And then in your instructions, it said that you needed 2 pieces of 6 by 12 pattern paper, double-sided. And the reason that you're using double-sided is so that you can get more cards from just the 2 pieces of paper, if that makes sense. So it doesn't matter, you know, which sides up they are at this moment. It's just a case of putting them together and cutting them. So let me just bring in my paper trimmer. So I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer. I'm going to cut the 2 pieces at once. Oh, Karen's saying, yes, you did get it, but you had problems, but you're here now. Okay, fine, don't worry. Literally, Karen, I've only just started. So I'll once we've done this, I'll go back into YouTube and I'll make it a public video, and then anybody can go back and watch it from the beginning, and I'll edit out. There was about 15 or 20 minutes of me literally just sat here waiting for everybody to jump on, so I'll edit that bit out and just start right from the beginning. Okay, so 2 pieces of 6 by 12 double-sided. I'm using Stampin' Up. This is Snowflake Splendor for anybody that may or may not want to know. This is current pattern paper. So what your instructions say here is that this is your 6 by 12 and that you first cut, you cut at 4.5. Okay, so I've got my 2 pieces of paper together. I'm lining them up in my trimmer. Let me just make sure that they are together. Lining them up in my paper trimmer at 4.5 inches. Just make sure that is correct. And then I'm going to cut. Okay, so this piece you put on one side because that's for your next cards. And the piece that we're going to use now are these 2 pieces that are 4.5 by 6. And what it tells you need to do now is rotate your 2 pieces of card and you cut them directly in half at 3 inches. Okay, so you've now got 4 pieces that are 3 inches wide by 4.5 inches long. And then what you need to do with these, you need to put them in your trimmer on the 4.5 inch side, and you're going to cut these into 1.5 inch strips. So you'll get 3 1.5 inch strips with these 2, and then we're going to do the same with the other one. So we're going to end up with 6 from here and 6 from here. Okay, so 1.5 inches into the trimmer, line up and cut. So that's 2. That's another 2, and there's my last 2. So that's 6 from that piece, and then exactly the same with this one. So I've got the 2 pieces together. I'm going to put them in the trimmer at 1.5 inches and cut. So they're all the bits, and I'm just going to put them on one side for now. Then you need this piece of Whisper White that I told you that you needed in your supply list. It was number 4 on your supply list, 1 times white A4 or 8.5 by 11 piece of card. Okay, and what you need to do with this, you put this in your trimmer on the 8.5 inch side, and you need to cut it at 3 1/4. So line it up at 3 1/4 and cut. Rotate it and cut this piece now into 2 5-inch pieces. So there's one. There's the other. This is waste, and this is what I cut some of my die cut shapes out from yesterday, from the waste from the white card. So that's 2. Then you need to bring your piece of Whisper White back in, and you need to do the same again. So you need to cut at 3 1/4. And this is waste, so that can go on one side. And then rotate it and put it in back in your trimmer and cut it at 5. And you do that twice. So you're going to end up with 4 pieces that are 3 1/4 by 5 and some waste. Okay, so I'm just going to put my trimmer on one side because I'm going to need that again in a little while. So now what you do with these, you're going to lay out your 4 pieces, because these are going to become the base of 4 of your cards. And then you bring in, I've got that many bits of paper on my desk, let me just move that. Then you bring in these pieces that you've just cut, and then what you want to do is you want to position them on these 4 pieces, just roughly for now. It's not vital where you position them, but you want to mix up the patterns. So I'm going to start with, let me just find all the ones that are the same at the moment. I don't know whether I've got the same or not now because they're all mixed up, but anyway. And then I'm literally, so I've got 4 there that look like they're the same pattern. Then I'm going to alternate with one of the other pieces. I'm going to jiggle them around in a minute, but that's that one. So I've got 2 pieces here that look like something else. So I've probably got, there we go. So that's one of those. So that must be one of those. And that's that. Let me see what we've got. I've got 2 pieces that are the same. So I must have 2 pieces on here that are the same. That's the same as that. So that must go there. And that goes there. Right, okay. So what you want to be left with basically is 3 different designs on each of your 4 pieces of card. Okay, is everybody with me so far? I'll just wait a few minutes for you to answer me. I'm just going to try and zoom in a little bit more. There you go. Is that better? Come in a little bit closer now. I'm just going to have a little drink of my drink. My designs that I'm using on these are very similar. But if you look at the ones I used yesterday, this was 2 pieces of, again, 6x12 paper, but the patterns are quite different, so they were easier to identify. Karen's saying yes. Okay, so what you need to do now is you need to stick these down. So the way that I'm going to do mine is start with the middle piece. No, I'm not. I'm going to start with the end pieces and position them so that there's, you know, a fairly even gap around them, and then put the middle one in last. Okay, so I'm just going to bring in my wet glue. And I'm going to start sticking. Margaret's saying yes as well. Okay, that's fine. Great. So I'm going to position this one down. I'm going to leave, you know, a small border on the right hand edge and try and get it as even as possible at the top and the bottom. And then I'm going to stick the opposite one down. So the one on the left. And then when these two are in place, lining this one up with this one as best I can while trying to keep it in view for you. I'm then going to put the middle one in. Patricia's saying it's okay for her. Okay, great. And then that way, you know, as long as you line them up at the top, it doesn't matter if you've got a slightly bigger gap here than you've got on the ends. So that's my first one. Let me just turn it over. So that's how that one's looking. So as you can see, these patterns are quite similar, but they're different. You know, this one's darker navies, this one's more misty moonlight, and this is, I think, pool party or coastal cabana. I can't remember what colours is in this, but so that's the first one. And then I'm just going to do the same. So if you're following along, if I'm going too quick, just let me know. If you're not following along and you want me to go quicker, let me know. Okay. And you can mix them up, you know. I might, on the others, I might put the green in the middle. And if any of you are on here at the moment, or any of my customers, you might end up getting one of these in the post, because as I say, I've got a lot of Christmas cards to make, and all the cards I have been making recently are all going to be used. They're all going to be going out to customers, to members of my team, you know, and family and friends. Okay, what I'm going to do with this one, I'm going to put the green in the middle. I'm going to mix this one up a little bit. I'm just using a little bit of wet glue. You can use whatever you want. If you've got a dry, you know, if you've got our seal or any of our old snail adhesive, it doesn't matter. Just, you know, get your paper down on your card. These are meant to be, you know, relatively quick cards that you can get quite a lot of from minimal supplies. If you think we're going to end up with 11 cards here just from 2 pieces of 6x12 designer series paper. So that's the third one. And then I'll do the same with this one. I'll put the green in the middle and swap these over, I think. As I say, if your double-sided paper is, you know, definitely more obvious, then these will go together even quicker. It's just that my paper that I've chosen to use today, a couple of the patterns are very, very similar. Just make sure I've got enough room there for this one. I'm not going to stick that middle one down fully at the moment, just until I get this one in. Okay, so let me see. So that's that's the 4. So that's the first 4 layers for your first 4 cards. So you need to bring in 4 of your card bases now. Now this is where I'm using Night of Navy on these, but for the rest of the cards I'm using Whisper White, okay? And then the same cards I made yesterday in the trial, I used Coastal Cabana. And again, you can have your card this way, or you can have it this way and have your 3 pieces going vertically or horizontally. It's up to you. It just depends if there is a directional pattern on your paper. So these are now going to stick on here. So again, they could go this way or they can go this way. It's entirely up to you, but yours will be determined by the, you know, the pattern paper that you're using. And that's why I said if it had a direction, you needed to cut it in a specific direction that was in my instructions. So I'm just going to again use a bit of wet glue for these because I think it just might make it a little bit quicker. And I'm going to position this centrally to the front of my piece of card. I'm just using my grid lines to line my base card up, and then hopefully the rest of it will line up. So that's the first one. I've not decided yet whether I'm going to have these vertically or horizontally. We'll see in a minute. So I'm just going to put this onto my grid, and then that will hopefully help me line this up a bit better. Are you all keeping up with me, or are you just watching? Okay, so that's the first 4 cards. Now, what I'm going to do, I've got some die cut shapes here, and I'm going to stamp my greetings, and then I can see then whether these cards are going to look best vertically or horizontally. I actually think horizontally because of the oval shape I've used, but we'll see. So I'm just using a very simple Merry Christmas, which is from the Arranger Wreath, which I've got here. I'm just going to put it on my block, and for these I think I'm going to use Night of Navy ink. Because there's Night of Navy in this paper and this card is Night of Navy, so I think it will all tie in nicely. So I'm just going to ink up, just bring in a piece of scrap from before and just make sure that this stamps okay, and it does. So I'm just going to stamp my Merry Christmas, and I'm thinking I'm just going to put it slightly lower than middle because I've cut some of the poinsettia dies again, and I will probably add a die flower shape like I did on these cards here. But I've cut them all in Night of Navy this time, whereas in the ones I made up yesterday I did some in, I think it was Coastal Cabana, and I did some in white. So let's just see how we go. Okay, so I'm just going to close up the ink so I don't stick my fingers in it, and bring in my chamois just to clean my stamp off. And I'm going to use it again, but at least if I clean it, hopefully I won't get ink on my fingers. So I'm just going to put that on one side, and then on the original PDF, these are literally now just stuck on the front of the card, but I thought they might look better having a die cut behind them. So I've cut, these are from the Stitched Shapes, and these are two of the sizes that you get in those dies. So again, I'm just going to add a little bit of glue onto the back of here now and glue these together. You're all very quiet today. I can't see much going on in the chat. Is it because you're all following along? Are you all concentrating? I'm just going to turn these over so that I can give them a rub from the back to make sure that they are going to stick. And then I do actually think now that this will look better this way. So I'm going to turn them all over, and I'm going to use dimensionals on these and pop them up. And these dimensionals are some that were in a kit that I got, so I'm just using them up. They were in one of the Stampin' Up kits I got, that's why they're a different shape than normal. Now, one other thing that you can do on this card, and that's where the ribbon came in. Again, this was an optional. You can put a piece of ribbon across the front if you want to, before you pop that on. So I think I'll probably do that. So I'm just going to angle the end of this ribbon, and then I'm just going to guess at roughly how much I need and cut 4 pieces the same. But again, you don't need to use the ribbon if you don't want to. I can see a couple of comments now, so I'll catch up with those in a minute. And I think I said you need about 16 inches of ribbon, so if you cut them at, you know, just under 4 inches, you'll have plenty. Right, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue in the middle, because you're not going to see that because it's going to get hidden by the die cut. I'm just going to position that over there, like so. And then, so Patricia's saying a little slow on the sticking. All right, don't worry, Patricia, it's fine. Karen's saying, yes, following along, but making them up as I cut everything beforehand. Okay, that's fine. As I said, you know, I didn't know whether everybody would want to cut beforehand, or if they wanted to make sure, you know, that they were following and doing it, you know, correctly and wait for me. So whatever works. So that's, in fact, I'm going to take that off. Hang on. I want to put my dimensionals the other way. I'll add a couple more, because I want the dimensionals to, you know, like straddle the ribbon. So if I pop that back, like so. So that's the first one. And then what I will do, but to save time, rather than do it now, I'll do it later. I'll put my little poinsettia and just put a little embellishment in the middle, like a little rhinestone or something like that. But for now, I'll make the cards as they are. So Let's add a couple more dimensionals onto these. Because I wasn't thinking when I stuck them side to side about the ribbon. I'd forgotten about the ribbon. So let's do the same with these now. So I'm going to bring this one in, put a little bit of glue. Once you get making these, and when I did those yesterday, they literally, once you've cut your pieces of paper, they do go together, you know, quite quickly. Donna Jo's saying yes. So I'm guessing that means you're following along okay, which is fab. And then I'm just going to stick that on there. So that's 2. And this this diagram, as I said in the email that I sent out the other day, is not mine, but I do have permission to use it. It was one that was posted in, as Stampin' Up demonstrators, we have access to a demonstrator Facebook page, and you've got to be a current demonstrator to be able to be in there. If you drop as being a demonstrator, they you know, boot you out, unfortunately. And this was a Facebook Live that our like area manager did with somebody else recently, and you know, she said encouraged us to use it and share it. So that's what I'm doing. So that's why I said, you know, we've got permission to use it, but please don't post it publicly on the internet anywhere. You can post the cards, but don't repost the diagram that I sent to you. So that's your first 4 cards. And I think they look fab. What do you think? I'm just going to have a quick drink of my juice. And everybody's will look different, you know, because we might all be using different coloured cardstock. We might all be using different coloured pattern paper. You might be doing yours as birthday cards or thank you cards or get well cards. I'm doing mine as Christmas cards. But the basic design is the same. So that's the first 4. So I'm just going to pop them onto one side. So for your next set of cards now, you're going to make another 4 cards. You need your paper trimmer again. You need to bring in your pattern paper that you've got left behind from before. So this is 6 inches by, what will it be, 7.5. You're going to put both pieces. Patricia's saying beautiful. Oh, thank you, Patricia. Just put the lid back on the glue actually before it dries up. So you're going to put your paper. Tracy Ann's saying nice and clean design. Thank you. Well, as I say, it's not my design, but anyway, this is going to go back into the trimmer now, and we're going to chop a piece that's 4 inches off these 2 pieces. So I've got the 2 pieces on top of each other. I'm lining them up, making sure I'm doing this right, at 4 inches, and I'm going to cut. This is going on one side for later. So I've now got a piece that's 4 by 6 times 2. Okay. So Margaret's saying look really good and quick and easy. They are, once you've got your paper and you've got it all cut up, they are really easy to put together. Right, so what we've got to do now, we've got to rotate these 2 pieces of card, and we've got to take a piece off that's 3/4 of an inch. Now, it doesn't matter with my paper, there's no orientation, so I'm just going to load this into the 3/4 of an inch on this side of my trimmer, and I'm just going to chop off 3/4 of an inch, and those 2 pieces you're going to put on one side with the other paper. So this now measures 5 1/4 by 4, just so you know you've cut it right. And then we're going to chop these up into 1 inch strips. Okay, so we're going to be left with 4 pieces that are 1 inch wide by 5 1/4. And again, there's an inch mark on this side of my ruler on my trimmer, so I'm going to line it up there, and I'm just going to chop these at 1 inch. And if you chop them wrong, you know, don't worry about it. Use, you know, just try and make it work for you. But if you follow the diagram, they are easy. I'm going to keep the trimmer here because I need it. So we've got our strips again now of paper. I'm just going to put them on one side, and then what you need to do, you need to bring your next 4 pieces of card, and I've already, as I say, pre-folded mine in the middle. But what you need to do, you need to open them out, put this in your trimmer, and you need to score at 1 1/4 inches. So I'm going to line the left hand edge, which will be the front of my card, up in my trimmer at 1 1/4 inches. I'm just going to move the blade out of the way, and I'm going to score. Okay, and I'm going to do that with each of the 4 pieces first before we go any further. So 1 1/4 inches. And if you use the blade by mistake and you chop it off, don't worry about it. Just chop it off and, you know, carry on. But hopefully, if you've got a trimmer with a scoring blade in it, just score. If you've not got one, put this in. If you've got the Simply Scored, score it at 1 1/4 with your Simply Scored. If not, mark 1 1/4 inches with a pencil mark at the top and the bottom, and then just use, you know, something like a stylus and a ruler, or, you know, whatever you've got that you can make score lines with. So 1 1/4 inches. This is the last one, so I'm just going to put the trimmer out of the way. And then what you're going to do with these, you're going to fold this back now and then burnish it with your bone folder. Now again, I think it says in the instructions you can either leave this loose or you can stick it down. I'm going to stick mine down, I think, just for speed, which I did on the ones yesterday. So I'm going to use, if I can get this running, I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal and just stick that down, and I'm just going to do the same with all 4. So you're folding back on that score line that you've just made with your trimmer, and then just burnishing it down. I'm trying to read the comments on the phone that's over in front of me, and I keep forgetting to stay in shot. So if I go out of shot, can you just remind me? Make a comment on the screen and remind me. Okay, so that's your next 4. So as I say, you can either leave this just folded back or you can stick it down. And again, it's going to be the same thing. So I'm going to put the 4 cards out in front of me. I'm going to bring in the strips, and I'm going to do the same. So I'm going to put 1 strip like so, and then turn 1 over, and just see, you know, what combination we get. And if I don't like the look of them, I can swap them around. But I think I'll actually do mine all like that. So again, it's just going to be sticking them down. So dry glue, wet glue, whatever you want to use. I think I'll use my wet glue again for this bit, because it just gives you a little bit more wiggle room. And you're just going to sit your strips of pattern paper as centrally as you can on these panels. And basically you want the tops to line up, so it doesn't matter where on this you stick them, but try and stick them as central as possible, but just get them to line up. And this pattern paper is basically just all kind of snowflakes and like watercolour washes. So that's my first one. So when it opens, you see a little bit of the pattern there, a little bit of the pattern there. So we'll do the same with each one of these now. So stick one down as centrally as you can get it, and then just make sure you line the other one up with it. And because you're using double-sided designer series paper and you're using 2 different pieces, you've effectively got 4 patterns, and that's the kind of whole idea of this double wonder. You're getting more patterns to choose from, if you like, but just from 2 pieces of designer series paper. So I think that's why, you know, this was made originally, because there's a lot of one sheet wonders out there, but with a one sheet wonder you tend to use, you know, maybe one pattern and make a lot of cards with the same pattern. This way they're going to look slightly different because you've got 4 different patterns. So if I hold this one up and show it you against this one, you know, they look different. They're the same patterns, but because the patterns have been used in a different order, they're going to look different, if that makes sense. So we're on to the last one. I just think this is a really good design, and I also think that this design would be good to do for, you know, like birthday cards. If you've got, obviously, you know, we've all got people that we send or give a birthday card to throughout the year. And I think if, you know, if you chose a more generic paper, obviously I'm using Christmas paper here, but I'm wondering maybe to whether do one of these maybe in January or something, and, you know, just use some different generic paper and make them a batch of birthday cards. And then we literally would, you know, in New Year we'd have 11 birthday cards, wouldn't we, all ready to send to people, you know, for the rest of the year. And as and when your supplies start going down, you could make some more with a different set of paper. Right, have I got 4? So there's my 4. So I'm going to bring in another 4 of my die cuts. Now what they did when they showed us how to do this in the demonstrator website, they actually made all the cards up first and then they did all the stamping at the end. But I think I'm just going to do them as I go along. But I am using the same greeting and the same colour, so, you know, just to keep it a lot easier. So again, I'm just going to ink up my Merry Christmas. I'm going to, again, stamp it lower on the oval rather than just in the middle, because I want to allow for putting in that poinsettia as an embellishment later. So I want to leave myself some room on my die cut shape, you know, to add that. Okay, so that's my 4. Close up my ink pad, clean my stamp again. And then I'm going to bring in 4 of these and we'll get sticking. Again, if you wanted to, you could put if you're going to use the matting layers, you can put these up on dimensionals if you want to. I think when I made them yesterday, I stuck all these together flat, but then I popped the whole thing up on dimensionals. Because the whole thing, I suppose, about batch card making is that it's supposed to be fairly quick and easy. So, you know, if you want to pop everything up on dimensionals, well then, yeah, you know, go for it. But if it saves a step, It just saves a little bit of time, doesn't it? Right, I'm just going to flip these all over and have a look at how I did my... Okay, so these I'm going to stick down near the bottom. But I am going to use dimensionals now on the back of these, as I say, but I've stuck the white bits flat to the front of the blue bit. And there's no ribbon or anything to use on these unless you want to. You know, you can change up these as much as you want. Once you know the basic, you know, how it's put together, you can add whatever you want. As I say, to make mine a little bit different from the diagram, I am using the poinsettia, and I'm going to use a bit of, you know, bling in them, like I've done here. Show you. This is the alternative colour, so I used a circle on these. So I'm going to, for these, I'm using the, I don't know how well you'll see this, I'm going to use the Night of Navy and pop that on it with a little rhinestone in the middle. So, you know, you can make them your own, you can fancy them up, you can keep them simple. It's entirely up to you. So this is going to go down here. And I'm just sticking mine on this side. You could have it going over so it goes over here if you want, but just remember not to put any dimensionals if it's going to go over there, because you'll seal your card up. So that's that one. And then that's that one. So that's the next four, but you can see if I put the little poinsettia on it and I add a little bit of bling, just how different it makes it look, or you can leave it completely plain. So I'm not going to do the embellishments at the moment. If you want me to do that at the end, I will do. So that's the next four. So now you need to bring in, let me just get the papers that we've got left. You need to bring in the papers that you've got left. You've got these two strips that were cut at, was it 3/4 of an inch or something? So you're going to use those. And you've got these two pieces. You need to put these back in your trimmer now. So I'm going to bring the trimmer back in. Let me just tidy up my desk a little bit. I've got dimensional backs everywhere. So bring the trimmer back in. Got my two pieces together. This measures 3.5 by 6. You're going to chop off 1.5 inches off the bottom or off the top if your pattern's not directional. So I'm just going to pop these in to 1.5 inches and cut. And they're going to go on one side because they're what make the 11th card up. So now this is 4.5 inches and you're going to cut it in half at 2.25. So I'm going to put it back in the trimmer. This is where we've just cut that section off the bottom. Okay, so you've got 2.25 by 3.5 and you've got 4 pieces. And these two pieces from before, and this that we've just chopped off the bottom is going to be the 11th card. So you're going to bring 2, you should have 3 base cards remaining. So you're going to bring 2 of your base cards in, and then you're going to do the same thing with these. So you're going to mix and match the patterns. So you're going to position them on the front of your card, turn them over, see how they look, see what you think, whether one looks better than the other. I think they go better together. So let's just see how this is going to look. You want to position them centrally to the front of your card. Try and leave a similar gap at the top to the bottom. Let's put them side by side. And then with these two strips, these are going to go over the middle. So again, you want to, you know, look, I'm going to use the green on there, and then I'm going to use the darker blue there. And then again, it's a case of sticking. So I'm just going to pick one of them up, bring my glue back in and start sticking. So how are you all doing? So I'm just going to position these so they've got a similar gap at the bottom of the card to at the top, but that the gap's not too wide, because this has obviously got to fill that gap. Okay, so don't have them too far apart, else this won't straddle both of your pieces. And then I'm going to position that. And again, with this piece that's going across the middle, you could pop that up on dimensionals if you want. But to be fair, you know, the postage is quite expensive these days, isn't it? And if it doesn't go through that little slot, they charge you more. So I'm being a bit more mindful with my Christmas cards, you know, about the thickness that I'm making them, you know, any depth on them. I am putting a little bit of dimension on them, but I'm not going overboard, because, as I said, I've got to make quite a few. And if I go to the post office and then they start charging me even more because they're, you know, thicker, it's going to end up costing me a fortune in postage. I've never known you all be so quiet. The chat's hardly moving. On a Sunday night, I can't keep up with it. It flashes up that quick before me. Okay, so there, those two. I'm going to bring in two more of my die cut shapes. Bring my ink in and my greet in again. And stamp my greeting. And I've just realised I've got no lights on, but it doesn't look too dark on the screen, so I think rather than mess about with the light, we're nearly finished. I'll just stick with it as it is for now. So I'll bring two more of my die cut shapes in, flip these over and apply some glue. Everything looks as though it's all still recording, so that's something, because you never know when you do YouTube lives what's going to happen. Turn these over. Where have I put my dimensionals? Can anybody see? Oh, there they are. And how did I do these? Let me find this card. So this was the alternative card I did yesterday in the alternative colours. And I put the circle to one side rather than putting it directly in the middle of the card. So let's get some dimensionals on these and see how this one's going to look. I might put it over to one side again, I think, because if I use the poinsettia, I might pop that on that side and that'll kind of balance it up a little bit. So I think we'll do that rather than putting it right in the middle, but you do whatever you want to do with yours. So that's the next two. So that's 10 we've done, if you're keeping up with me. And then your last one is like your bonus card really, with your 2 bits that are left over. So what you need to do with these is, these need to be cut now in half. So Patricia's saying, okay, just following and trying to arrange my mistakes. Oh dear. They're not mistakes, Patricia. You're just making yours individual. That's all you're doing. Right, so this is 3.5 by 1.5. And we're just going to cut these in half. So again, I'm putting both into my trimmer. I'll read your comments in a minute, and I'm going to cut them at 1 3/4. So Margaret's saying, sorry, I have to go now. We'll catch up with the last card later. Thank you so much for the like. You're welcome. Thank you for being here. So these 2 last pieces now are going in at 1 3/4 of an inch. And I'm going to cut them in half, and that's the last 4 pieces for the last card. So again, you just need to arrange your design. So you've got 2 different patterns that's double-sided, so these should literally just be able to be mixed and matched like so. And again, you can have the card vertically, you can have it horizontally if you want to turn them that way, which I think I might do because I'm using ovals and I think they might go together better. And you can space them out as close or as far apart as you want to. It's entirely up to you. So let's put a bit of blue on there. And then what I'll do, I'll take photographs of all these at the end, and I'll make a thumbnail for the YouTube video and I'll upload it and make the video public. So for anybody that registered that hasn't made it with us here today, then they'll be able to hopefully see the thumbnail and watch the video back, but obviously it won't be live. So I'm just spacing these out as best I can. It's not perfect, but it doesn't have to be. I'm trying to leave a similar gap here on either side and at the top and bottom. I'm just going to bring in my last die cut and matting layer, and then one last bit of stamping. And the basic cards will be more or less done, and it's just a case of then, you know, me adding the flower embellishment that I'm going to be using and some what's the word I'm looking for? Embellishments, you know, some rhinestones or something. So put this one in the middle, like so. Just flip it over, bring some dimensionals in. I'm going to pop that one in the middle. So let's just move the instructions out of the way. So this is what we should have. 4 cards, like so. Four cards. Let me just try and bring this down a bit. There you go. So 4 cards like this, 4 cards like this, 2 cards like this, and then the last bonus card. So that's the 11 cards. Right, I'm just going to have a bit of my Kit Kat. Just bringing in my embellishments. And then I've got all my little poinsettia flowers to stick on. So what do you think? Oh dear, it's Thursday work talking. So, should I stick the poinsettia flowers on while you're here, or should we call that a day and say goodbye? Mandy G's, I've just seen your comment that says, you're a card making machine. I'm not really, I'm just following those directions, you know, those instructions. So that's 11 cards I've just made with you, and I made 11 yesterday, so that's 22, and I've got a whole drawer full. But I do have a lot to send out, as I said, you know, because I want to send cards to my customers and to my team. And if any of you that are on here live in the UK, watch out on my YouTube channel for Monday, because I've got a customer offer that's going to be going live from Tuesday, which I think is the 1st of December. So the video is going to go live on Monday. Patricia's saying, everything is beautiful. Thank you for sharing once more. You're welcome, Patricia. Okay, so do you want me to carry on sticking, or should we call it a day? Just let me know. Just say carry on or end, and then I'll know what you want me to do. I'm sorry about the snivelling. As I said, I have got a head cold, so. There's a delay on the comments coming through, so I don't know what you want me to do at the moment. So I can see a few people have dropped off, so maybe people want to go, but I'll wait until you let me know, and then Karen's saying carry on. Okay, well, if anybody wants to stay, I'll carry on. If not, I obviously don't mind if you need to go. Mandy G say, I have to go in 10 minutes. Oh, it should be finished by then, Mandy. I'm only literally going to be sticking these on. So I'll carry on, and then obviously if you have to go, you have to go. So I'm just going to stick the little poinsettia on now somewhere on, you know, the oval. I think you could leave them like this. I think they'd be perfectly fine, and anybody getting this card would love it. They're getting a bit of glare from the daylight now. That's because I've not got my big lights on. Patricia's saying I can end. She can catch it. Thanks again, and I'll try and catch you live Monday. I'm not live on Monday. It's just a video announcement on my YouTube channel, Patricia, for Monday. It's a customer announcement basically for December. It's just something, a giveaway I'm going to be doing. Caroline's saying I'll need to spruce mine up as I couldn't find the PDF details instructions, but in all I have basic cards done. Yeah, right, Caroline, message me after I go off air and I'll send it again. But it definitely went with everybody's email. Honestly, it was attached. It was just done automatically with every email. But message me, Caroline, and I'll send it you again. And then you can print it off and keep it. So I'm literally just putting a little bit of glue in the middle of this poinsettia, and I'm not unduly too concerned about, you know, shaping it or doing anything fancy with it, because like I say, it's probably going to get, you know, squashed in the post anyway. Okay, fab, Caroline. So I'm just a little bit of wet glue and sticking it down, and then I'm going to put a little bit of something in the middle, probably a bit of bling, I think. So with this one, I think I'll pop that one on that side. I will, as I say, take pictures of all these when I end the live, and then hopefully I'll do a blog post and hopefully you'll see better. Justine's put, oh, am I here? Yes, you are here, but I'm just literally finishing up. But it will be recorded, hopefully, and it will go on the channel to watch back for anybody that hasn't been able to make it. Right, so that's those. So let me put the glue on there. Put my thing on the end of my scissors, and we'll just bring in a bit of, just logged on my Mac instead of phone, and now I can finally say hello. Oh, well, hello, but I've nearly finished. Patricia's saying I will finish mine this afternoon. Okay. Let's bring in, let's see, what should we use? Use some of the basic rhinestones, I think. So let's try these. I'm just going to pop a rhinestone in the middle of each of the flowers. So if you're going to do the same, you're going to need 11, aren't you? Because there's 11 cards and I've got one flower on each. You don't have to do this, as I said. I think the cards look perfectly fine, just as they are. So that's the first one. Try and bring it a bit nearer. That's the first design. Bring in the next 4. So Justine saying, I have been watching along on my phone, but I couldn't find how to chat. Oh, Justine, that's a shame. Well, really, what should happen, Justine, even on your phone, underneath the video screen, it should say live chat. And if you click on that, then over on the right-hand side, you have to scroll right to the bottom and it should say live chat and you should be able to type in your comments. But no worries, at least you're here, that's fine. I think YouTube is a bit confusing sometimes depending on, you know, what you watch it on. That's just come off on my finger. That needs to go back on there. Let me just put that down. Got it stuck to my finger now. So that's that one, that's that one more. I'll give you a close-up of this one in a minute. So that's that one. So that's the next 4. Mandy G's saying the poinsettias really had the finishing touch. Yeah, I like them. I thought they looked quite nice as well. So just put that one in there, that one in there. Oh, I've just got 11 before I have to start a new packet. So that's that one. And then last one. So that's like the 11th card, the bonus card. So if I can just grab the ones from yesterday that I did as a trial run, you'll see. Let's show them side by side and then you'll see how different they look depending on what paper you used. So they're today's. They're the ones I made yesterday. This is retired designer series paper. This is from last year. But the colourways are different, you'll see. But as I say, I'll try and take better pictures. Loved the picky up tool. Justine, it's called a take your pick tool. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and blog because there'll be a video going up on Monday, and that's all I'm saying. The next 4, let's get the next 4 in. So they're the 4 I've just made today with the fold back, and they're 4 made yesterday just using same design, different paper, different colourway. This paper was lovely, wasn't it, Justine? It was one of my favourites, and I've got literally a couple of sheets left from last year. So I thought I'd try it out. There's the next one from today. I know I'm teasing you, Justine. There's the next one from today. They're the 2 in the alternative colourway. And then finally, Justine's put, see, now I'm on chat, you can't shut me up. I don't mind, it's great. I love it when you chat to me. There's the last one. And there's the alternative from yesterday. So I've got 22 cards there now. Brilliant, love it. So Mandy G's saying they're all lovely. So if any of you make any of these cards up, if you put them all down on your desk or somewhere and take a photograph of them and email it to me, I'll do a blog post with everybody's pictures in. I'll put a blog post up about this anyway, a separate post that goes along with the live video. But if any of you actually make any of these, just send me a picture of all your cards and I'll do a blog post or something maybe next week showing everybody what we all made. What colour is the plain mint card? It's Coastal Cabana, Justine. And this is Coastal Cabana. The ink on this one, let me see if I can get it a little bit nearer for you to see. So the ink on this is Coastal Cabana, so is the circle, so is the card. But Then when I'd stamped a few, I wasn't sure whether, I'll try and show you side by side, I wasn't sure whether the Coastal Cabana was dark enough. So this is still Coastal Cabana, but the ink on this one is Bermuda Bay. So I'm not sure how well you can see. Let me see if it'll focus a bit better if I take that away. This is slightly darker. This is Bermuda Bay ink, but everything else is still Coastal Cabana because that was one of the colours that was in that paper. You've got the ink pads perfect. As I say, well, you can use Coastal Cabana or you can use Bermuda Bay. It doesn't really matter. It was just when I'd started stamping some of these, they looked a bit light, and I kind of just spotted my Bermuda Bay ink and thought I'll try it, and then I carried on using Bermuda Bay. But the cardstock is Coastal Cabana because that was one of the colours in that set of paper. I think this Pacific Point, I think the dark green, I think was Shaded Spruce from memory. There was Coastal Cabana. There was one of the reds. I can't remember whether it was Real Red or Poppy Parade. And then there was the pale blue, which I can't remember whether that was Balmy Blue or something. But I just literally picked one of the colours and, you know, used it on the die cut shapes and on some of the base cards. Patricia, don't worry about it, it's fine. I won't do anything probably until maybe the end of next week. So if anybody does make them up, you know, in the next week, if you just lay them out and send me a group photograph, I will, the Bermuda Bay does have a bit more oomph, you're right, yeah, it's just a little bit darker. I'll maybe do a blog post maybe next weekend or something like that, just showing what everybody made from the live. But I will photograph these. I'll do a blog post later. I'll put a thumbnail on this YouTube live. I'll edit the bit out from the beginning where I was just kind of sat waiting for 15 or 20 minutes for everybody to come along, and hopefully you'll see the pictures better. So has anybody got any last minute questions or anything before I go? Because I think I need to go and get another drink and maybe some food or something. Don't know what time of day it is. What is it? Oh, it's like 2:30. So, Justine, you're welcome. Where are you in the world, Justine? Are you in the UK or are you abroad or? Oh, I'm so thirsty. Right, I'm just going to start having a little bit of a tidy up while I'm waiting to see if there are any last minute questions. Clean my stamp off while I'm waiting. You're in Dorset, okay, all right. Well, you may or may not be interested in my announcement that's going live on Monday on my YouTube channel. That's all I'm going to say. Karen, you're welcome. Again, Karen, if if you make them, send me some pictures. I live in a place called West Moors near Ferndown in Dorset, just 10 minutes from Bournemouth. Oh, okay. Patricia's saying thank you again, Ashley, and bon appetit. Oh, same to you, Patricia. Thank you for being here. So again, the greeting from today, the simple Merry Christmas, just for anybody that may or may not want to know, was from Arrange a Wreath. Okay. The greeting that I used here, may this Yuletide season be filled with joy, I think was from the Greatest Part of Christmas stamp set, which I think is a retired stamp set, so that's why I've not used it today. Karen, yeah, I am teasing you. I didn't see any mistake, Patricia, don't worry. Right, so I can't see any more questions or anything coming up, so I think we'll end it here. I'll go and take photographs of these. I'll go and get the blog post done, and then I can go and sit down and get myself a drink and something to eat. So unless there's any last minute questions that pop up literally in the next few seconds, I'm going to say goodbye to you all. Hope you all enjoyed it. As I say, send me pictures if you do make any. And hopefully I will see you all in Sunday nights live at 5 p.m. Oh, Justine saying you're originally from Windsor. Okay. Never been to Windsor. I believe it's lovely. Just having a tidy up while I'm waiting to see if there's any last minute questions. Okay, can't see anything popping up, so I'm going to say goodbye. So thank you for joining me. I hope you have fun making the cards if you make them. Thank you, Justine. I've just seen your comments saying thank you again and have a good afternoon. I'm going to say goodbye. Take care, everybody, and hopefully I'll see you all on Sunday night at